That's my bath. I didn't do all this work for you guys to have a snack. Look at Miss Luna. She's the head hen. She's gone to the other side of the hawk net to have her bath. I don't know. He's all up in everyone's grill. They're all like, we're bathing. We don't want any hanky-panky right now. He's on alert. I have to put a dress on you. You're missing some feathers back there, Missy. Yeah, looks like you're going to have to put a dress on her. Or I could solve this problem by rehoming, culling this rooster. He's had lap time twice today. He was very freaked out by it. I'm being harassed by a would-be. So anyway, yeah. Or maybe that's a bumblebee, I can't tell. They look the same. They're both, one's bigger than the other, but. So yeah, he's a biter. He's never once tried to flog me or jump at me or attempt to use his spurs. But man, look, those are his bites. Psycho. You're handsome. Yeah, those good looking ones always got something messed up in the wiring, don't they? Oh yeah, yeah. He's listening to the birds. Is this not the epitome of a lazy Sunday? Look at your pretty feathers over there, Luna. You seldom get to see your chickens spread their wings like that. I mean, they do when they're flying or they're, you know, flying down, but just spreading them out like that. I haven't seen them like that in a long time. I think she is the only one of my older birds who never had a wing clipped, which is just, people are like, oh, you clip their wings, they'll never be able to fly. No, it's not that kind of wing clipping. It's a feather clipping. And what you do is, you see those whitest feathers there? Those are her bottom, her flight feathers. And feathers are a lot like our hair or our fingernails. Cutting the actual thing does not hurt if you don't hit it quick or you don't hit any blood. So typically, if you want to keep a hen or a rooster from like flying over a fence, which is typically one of the reasons people do that, is right there below her little lace, where all those white ones are. You would just go through there and clip those last longest feathers. I would probably go right around the black and white, and that way it doesn't keep them from flying, but it makes them so off balance that they just don't do it. Especially if they're trying to jump up and fly over a fence. They got to have some balance to do that. And I have yet to see any of them try it with a hawk net up here. But see, I'm sitting on this stump right here. If you've seen my videos, you know, and the hawk net is just, I hate that it's droopy. It makes it hard to mow in here. I mean, if we were going to stay here, if we decide to stay here or something happens and we're not going to move, you know, can't pinpoint nail paw down on anything, but I would probably encircle a large area with like a electric poultry netting. Take this down, or I would just let them free range. You know, if this property would be so perfect for them to free range if we just put a big long fence across the front, but that's, you know, a couple 100 feet of fence. I don't know, we're equivalent of, you know, we're considered two lots. And here in Delaware, like a lot of East Coast places, your normal, I guess see, I grew up out west in Oklahoma and Texas, so neighborhoods were so different. But here, the lots are narrower, but really twice as deep as they are wide. And we have a really, really big lot. Probably this property and this land was established before they really started. I don't think any of the houses further down had started, you know, doing those lot lines. And I think it has to just do with property lines. I don't know how they did it. But anyway, this is a deep, it's probably a little bit deeper than it is wide. So it's almost an acre, I think. The whole yard with the house and everything. So there's cows, and I don't know why I'm showing you this. I'm looking at it but not looking at the camera, and that is a big problem with me. I get distracted. You know, my ADD kicks in and I start squirreling and looking at stuff. But there's Cosmo and Flower on their side of the fence. laddie roo and flower on their side of the fence. I've been doing so much dealing with Cosmo. That's the Easter egg rooster there. You see preparing him a spot to bathe with lap time and trying to get him to stop biting me so much. Because like I said, he's never flogged. No, I've never feared his spurs. Laddie was a flogger when he was young, when he was about this age. But it was really, to me, it seems like it's that first spring of full-blown grown-up boy hormones that he has been. You know, he's a terror first thing in the mornings when I open it. And part of that is protection. You know, he wants to be the first out in the yard and wants to make sure everything's safe for his girls. And if there's anything out here in the yard that he wants to get rid of, he wants to do it. And look at these. I don't know if you pick up on camera. See those little hovering things of gnats? There's one right there in front of him. They're just swirling about. I wish the birds would eat them all. Those are the kind of things that, you know, you're riding your bicycle, you accidentally ride through one and it goes up your nose or in your mouth. Ugh. So there I am. So yeah, I start getting all squirrely and looking at stuff and distracted, and I'm looking at things and talking to you, and I'm looking at something not on camera. I think you probably figured that out. And if you're one of my regulars or someone who's familiar with my videos, thank you. I appreciate it. You are so welcome. But you know that sometimes I go off on weird tangents and ramblings and start squirreling out. Oh look, all my buff girls are over here. Now they're on the far left of the screen, right there. Now that is Zinnia, Zin. She's one of the younger group's chickens. She's an Easter egger. She looks very much like the buff Brahmas, except for in her coloring and the patterning around her hackle feathers. I mean, her tail's very similar. She's got a lot more, I don't know if I can get close enough to see it, but in her tail feathers, she's got this beautiful rust and kind of a sable and taupes in it. And they make these beautiful little, see right there, you can see her tail feathers. Where these girls' tail feathers, I mean, you've seen them a lot, but they're just kind of bushy with a really pale striping. But they have a little patterning, the buff Brahmas do. You see that there in their feathers? That's Kiva. Hers isn't as bright as Neve's. Neve used to have a lot of the lacing when she was young. After this last molt, they both lost a lot of their lacing on their feathers. So she needs to put a little dress there. She's not raw. I mean, you can see her skin, but she's not anything bloody or yucky. And she's got a bunch of new feathers growing, but she went back to letting herself be mated with before she was totally finished with her little bit of a molt. Because you can see a lot of gray new feathers there. Kick some dirt in his face. Kick some dirt in his face. He is beautiful and he's fluffy. That butt's too pretty for a boy. It's funny. I posted a short the other day of my roosters. Both were taking turns. We're setting on nest, and I've had a lot of people like, it's a trans rooster, or you know, and I'm like, yeah, that's funny, but it's not. All right, these are natural animals, and they are what they were born to be, male or female. Some are more aggressive, some aren't, and that's just how it works in the chicken world. There is no really in between. I don't think there is a gender in between, but that is just my personal opinion. How do you identify Cosmo? Huh? How do you identify yourself? He's like, I crow loud. I got a loud mouth. Look at him walking up on me. He doesn't typically walk this close. I had to get my yellow, I call it the Cosmo prevention stick. And I don't hit him with it, but I do put it up against his chest and use it to block his body. So if he comes at me, it's just blocking his body. It never touches his head or his tail or his feet. It's just to make some distance between us. He had a second lap time. And usually once you have some lap time and you pick them up and you hold them, even once you put them down, they go away from you for a while. You can usually get out of them before they realize, oh, wait a minute, I need to be pissed at her. And I think all the lap time and holding and dealing with Laddie last spring and summer did a lot to calm him. And I think after this first A lot of times they call it their Robert eats, when roosters really start coming into their hormones. And this is the worst time right now in spring. That's when it's time to start laying, and all the hormones and chemicals in both animals' bodies are like it's time for frolicking and laying eggs. And he gets really protective because, you know, his instincts tell him that my girls are laying eggs and those are my future babies and I need to protect my girls. And he would probably be very protective of chicks, and I think Laddie would be a great chick dad. But so this is, you know, it's spring, you know. Even humans use it to refer to some of their own behaviors and antics when the weather turns nice and warm again, saying, oh, he's got spring fever, she's got spring fever, you know, as an excuse for some behaviors. And people's just, all of a sudden you got this burst of energy and frisky and you want to do all kinds of stuff. And yep, oh yeah, see, he just wants to have sex all the time. So she was fine, she's ready. I mean, that's fine, you know, and it's over with. But he was like not doing that last night with Kiva. He got on her and she was screaming because he had the back of her head feathers in his mouth, and he would not get off of her. I don't know if it's because he knew he was trying and he wasn't hitting the mark, so to speak. But I had to go in there with my hand, and I just used a flat hand and just pushed him, you know, I did this and pushed him off of her. And she got up and went back and got up on her roost. But yeah. I think the older hens are like, oh my gosh, there's a reason that older women don't want younger men. So they have made a hole there between the hawk net and the fencing. And that little piece of fencing is just there because I didn't want to take out the post and I would have to cut it out, which I need to do. Plus I've still got a little bit of chicken wire I see on the end of this roll. So yeah, I can use that for some of the places up around the top that I need to patch this spring, and replace some of the old mesh that goes around the top of the coop. You can't see my coop from here, but if you look up at that top pole, it goes across the top of the kennel. Well, there's 4 inches of roof above that, and so between that top pole and the 2x4s, the way they're standing, tin roof, there's a 3.5 inch gap, and that's all covered with mesh and hardware and chicken wire. But there's a couple places where it's come down, and where I've opened up that used to have a board there instead of chicken wire. So now I'm gonna just, you know, any place that I think anything could try to weasel in, and not necessarily a real weasel, but you know, anything that could climb up like a raccoon or anything, they won't be able to get through the top. And I've never had an issue with those kind of predators. So I think because of all the feral cats that live over there next door, and my poultry protection cat, and the fact that I got a couple big roosters with attitude. And they were accidents. Where he's got the dark legs and a traditional comb. He's an Easter egger. His comb is like a traditional comb from like his nose to like the crown of his head, and then it kind of roses on the other end. So he's a mix of something. And Laddie has a pure one big rose comb, and he's an Americana. Though they look very similar, they're built very similar. They both have the dark slate blue gray legs. But Zin Zin Lace is my little green egg layer. And so if I thought Daisy was being like a good, well, I mean, she comes out, she eats, and she goes back on there. I mean, I might try the next, I got a green egg I just took in the house. I might put that back under her and try to hatch some more Easter eggers. See if she'll hatch some Easter eggers, but I don't know. I've never had a hen hatch her own babies, you know. So we'll see. I might go bring that green one back out and put under her. But like today, when I went in there and I grabbed the eggs that I threw away, I gave to the chickens, the one she had been sitting on all week. She was in a different nest box. I mean, one of the Brahmas was on top of those eggs, laying her egg with that little clutch. But, you know, that's what I just had to pull them all out there because I didn't know whose is whose. So I kind of wish she would, you know, stay on the same nest. And what she does is she'll get the nest box right beside it. And as soon as that hen gets off those eggs, she'll get right back on them. So I might just be being too worried about it, and helicopter mommy and I maybe should just let her, see his little comb? Let her raise him. See, he's got kind of a normal comb up the front, but then you see it starts to rose comb here towards the back. Yeah, you got a dual comb. See, he's not jumping and attacking me. I mean, I do have the red Crocs on, and I should know better, but like I've said before, sometimes I run out here so many times during the day just for a few minutes a day, checking on things, feeling things, doing things, filming, piddling out here with them. And I just, you know, these are the only things that have gotten to be comfortable walking on, especially on even ground, is Crocs. I wish they'd make a sneaker with the bottom of the Croc in them. I think they might make one similar. A company called Hike makes a good a tennis shoe that's more than just a tennis shoe, but we'll see. Anyway, so I should put the blue Crocs back on because they're not as, I guess, red's aggressive to roosters. Laddie spent the first, I don't know, several months of his youth making love to the blue Crocs. This guy's never really had a shoe thing. And he acts the way he acts no matter what shoes I have on. Laddie is pretty much just spurred on by the Crocs, and if I'm walking too fast. Chickens got to have slow movements around them. But look at these little holes. He's right in front of a hole there. So anyway, I'm going to go in. Just been watching the chickens dust bathe and chatting about them. They're so sweet and beautiful. It's so nice to see them out here in the sun doing their thing. Yeah? Since what you lay me another, I'm going to take your green egg tomorrow too, and we're going to put them under your broody sister. You know, for all her broodiness, I would like to have for her to have something to show for it. Which I thought they stopped laying when they were broody, but she's, you know, she was under 2, and then she was sitting on the one I caught earlier. I took in. I'm pretty sure it was hers. The leghorns lay a brown. Those leghorn crosses lay a brown egg, but it's a light. It's, you know, it's barely past white into brown. Where Luna lays the darkest brown egg. The Brahmas have, their brown egg is about the color of their lightest buff. You know, they're brown, but they're more like these little feathers there right above the dirt on the left. And of course she lays an olive green egg, or sometimes it's more blue and other times it's more green, who knows. But yeah, they're all just, I was gonna bring a little scratch out and hand feed them, but they've already had snacks today, and I just didn't want to cause the commotion, because that will also, when like they're all around and getting excited about chasing treats, that their excitement gets him all hyped up. So we'll see, but yeah, they're all just happy as can be. These two always dust bathe together. They are inseparable. It would break my heart if anything happened to one of them. If anything happened to one of them, it would break the other one's heart. But yeah, these are buff Brahmas. Silver Lace Wyandotte, 2 Easter eggers, and the Colombian Rock Cross. You're lapping her wings. Eat those gnats in the air, you guys. They're like right at your head height. Just walk over there and just slurp them up. That's weird. I don't know if I've ever noticed so many of them. I don't know if you can see them right there, but yeah, you can see them. It's like a little, is it a pattern? Are they telling us something? Are aliens coming? Instead of birds flying in patterns to warn us, it's going to be gnats. I don't know, but look at that little swirl. Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to go. Just watching some bathing here. I like to watch my girls take a bath. Bye, y'all.